You guys, let me show you how to cut and sew this short pant with elastic waistband. It is very easy to cut and sew. Let us get into it, okay? Okay, you guys, I'm starting with my fabric on a fold, and the length of this fabric is 20 inches, okay? Now, I was just showing you guys that it's on a fold. Okay, now the next thing I went ahead to do was to draw my starting line. Okay, just draw a straight line. You want to make sure that the width of the line is about 1.5 inch or 1 inch exactly. Okay, so now that's my starting line. Now from the top, I went ahead to mark 8 inches for my hip point and 10 inches for my crouch point. If you don't know how to mark, get your crouch point measurement. I have a detailed tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to do that. The link will be in the description box. Okay, so the first line is my starting line, the second line is my hip point, the third line is my crouch line. Okay, now the next thing I went ahead to do was from the middle, I marked my hip measurement plus 1.5 inch. Okay, hip measurement plus 1.5 inch. The half inch is the sewing allowance. Okay, now you can do 2 inches, but me, I did 1.5 inch. Okay, so after doing this, I connected my markings together. Now at my crouch point, I extended my crouch measurement by 3 inches and I connected it to my hip to give me my crouch curve. Okay, so this is what we have here for my crouch curve. Now for my crouch point, I came down by 3 inches, and this is where I want to mark circumference of my thigh divided by 2. That is what I marked there. Okay, so circumference of my thigh divided by 2, that is what I marked here. Okay, now at the hem, you want to step your circumference of your thigh measurement down by 1 inch or 1.5 inch. Okay, so after doing this, I connected all my markings together, and this is what we have here for the front part. Now from that line, the next thing I went ahead to do, you see the middle, whatever the middle measurement is, that's what I marked there. Okay, the half measurement of that, the distance between those 2 points, I marked it there and I connected it to the edge. Okay, this is because the waistline is not straight. We're trying to get a curvy waistline here. So after doing this, the next thing I went ahead to do was to cut out my front piece. Very simple, very straightforward. This is what the front part of these shorts look like. Okay, you guys, cutting a short is very easy, very simple and very straightforward. Now for the back part, I just grabbed the second piece on a fold and I made sure that the front piece was well aligned, properly situated. Let me speak big English for you guys. I made sure it was well aligned on the second piece, and the next thing I went ahead to do, you see that my crouch point, I extended it by 1.5 inch. Okay, so at my crouch point, I extended it by 1.5 inch. Now at the hem, I also extended it by 1.5 inch. This is all to accommodate the bump. You want to make sure you're keeping the measurement along the hem straight, because you need to fold the shorts. Okay, the folding allowance, the seam allowance is also there. Okay, so I also made sure that at that point I kept the line straight as well. Now the next thing I went ahead to do, that's at the top. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was to cut everything out. Just follow whatever I'm showing you, follow everything, you will get it right. Okay, now after doing this, the next thing I went ahead to do was to cut everything out. This is what the front and the back part looks like. Okay, now you want to make sure that if you are cutting a short that has like elastic band, full elastic band on the waistline, the hips and the hips and the waist is the same measurement. Okay, before I bite my tongue. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was to join the shorts on the crouch curve. Okay, so both for the front piece and for the back piece, I joined the shorts on the crouch curve. Let me make I no go bite my mouth. So after joining it, this is what we have going on here. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was to open it up. I opened it up because I want to attach this inseam or the in leg, whatever you call it. I want to attach them together. Okay, so I made sure that the front piece and the back piece were properly aligned, or properly aligned. That's the word. I don't know why I'm looking for another English there, you guys. I made sure they were well aligned. I secured with my office pin. All of it I don't use to secure with office pins. I agree to now. Okay, so I secured my office pin, and the next thing I went ahead to do was I took it over to my sewing machine and I joined it. So I joined middle to the hem and hem to middle. That's my own trick. Okay, so after joining, this is what we have here. You guys, my sewing machine was showing me shaky, my weaving machine was showing me shaky, so I was using zigzag stitch to lock the ends of my seam. Now for the side, the next thing I went ahead to do was to align them properly together, and I joined it. Okay, so I joined the sides on 1 cm sewing allowance. Remember that we added that 1.5 inch I told you guys that you add extra to the hips. By the time you take 1 cm for joining the crotch curve and 1 cm for joining the sides, you've already exhausted that. Okay, so after doing this, the next thing I went ahead to do was to fold the hem, because we have like 1 inch sewing allowance at the bottom. I added everything to the length of the shorts. Okay, so don't get confused. So next thing I went ahead to do was to fold it neatly, and I just sewed it. Okay, so after sewing, guys, this is what we have here. After sewing, this is what we have here. Very simple, very straightforward. I made sure I gave it a good press. You guys, I always iron as I sew, so you don't think I don't iron as I sew. So after ironing, this is what we have here. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was to take the measurement of my waist. After taking the measurement of my waist, I cut my waistband. Now the waistband is 3 inches in width. Okay, so the next thing I went ahead to do now is I folded it into 2. They brought light, guys, so you'll be hearing my fridge shouting. So I folded it into 2. After folding it into 2, I'm going to join it at that point. Then I'm going to fold it. Okay, so this is what I did. I took it over to my sewing machine, I folded it, I joined it, and I gave it a good press. Okay, so this is what we have here. You want to make sure that you leave an opening of 1.5 inch where we are going to attach, where we are going to insert the elastic. Okay, now the next thing I went ahead to do was to properly place the elastic band on the waist. I made sure everything was well aligned, and I took it over to my sewing machine and I attached the elastic band to the shorts. Okay, so this is me attaching the elastic band to the shirt. I think for me, when it comes to sewing, this is the part I don't like. Anyways, we're almost at the end. Okay guys, so now remember I told you are going to leave an opening of about 1.5 inch because you need to insert your elastic. So this is my elastic, and it is 1 inch in width. Okay, so this is 1 inch in width. Now the next thing I did was I grabbed my safety pin. I inserted my safety pin into my elastic band, and I inserted the elastic band into my waistband. Band. See guys, if I'm sounding a little dull, I drank plenty zobo and it's scattering my system, so I'm not okay in essence. Okay, yeah, so I inserted the elastic band and I was fluffing out the waistline as I was inserting the elastic band to make sure that it's not too tight or not too loose. Okay, so this is what I kept doing here. I just kept inserting it and fluffing it out, inserting it and fluffing it out. Maybe because of years of sewing a lot of elastic shorts for myself, I can tell when it will be too loose or when it will be too tight. Okay, so after doing this, I brought it out. Everything, now that all the shorts has elastic band, I brought it out through same opening that we inserted it in. I look at what the waistband looks like. Next thing I went ahead to do was to cut it, and I'm going to stitch that point. Okay, so I took it over to my sewing machine. I did a combination of both straight stitches and zigzag stitches because you don't want to be outside and you wear kpa and your waist to fall from your short to fall from your waist because you did not stitch the elastic band very well. So make sure you stitch very well. So after doing all that, the next thing I went ahead to do was tuck it back into the waistband, and I sealed that point. Okay, so you guys, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, just be looking at what I'm doing. So after sealing that point, this is what the elastic band looks like. It's very beautiful, very straightforward. This is what the shirt looks like. And guys, this is the simplest way, the quickest way, the fastest way to sew your very beautiful shirts, your short pants, your knicker, whatever you call it, that has elastic waist. Okay, elastic waistband. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make sure you comment. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you follow my page, make sure you like. You see that dance that is raining now? Oh, shalala. That's what I'm dancing for you here. If you know how to dance it, just drop your own dance video in the comment section. That's if you're watching on Facebook. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.